the fourth episode of Let's Talk Cricket podcast. And we are now into the playoffs. And Anson, it's been 1.5 months now, like 6 weeks. How quickly did the time pass? And we had to wait for the last match to see who will be the fourth team to qualify for the playoffs. And it's been an incredible league stage so far.
Yes, Devang, it has been yet another entertaining IPL season. And now, since we have reached the most important part of the tournament, we will speak about the top four teams that have qualified. They are the Mumbai Indians, Delhi Capitals, Royal Challengers Bangalore, and the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Before starting off, I would like to introduce our panel members for today: Tresnor, Raj, Wedyn, Rahil, and Welden. So, my first question is on the Delhi Capitals. Welden, Delhi seem to have a young squad with their main strength being the pace department. After ending their losing streak versus RCB, do you think the Delhi Capitals can carry their momentum into the playoffs in their first qualifier versus Mumbai?
Okay, so answering your question, Anson, I would like to give you a little detail about DC's previous journey. DC's journey over the past few years has been something, special. Their franchise failed to qualify for playoffs for 6 straight seasons. This was from 2013 till 2018. In fact, in 2018, they were at the bottom of the table. The franchise finished third in IPL 2013. They missed to qualify for their first ever finals by a short margin. That was very unfortunate. Okay, so answering your question about the youngsters and whether they can carry the momentum, I would say yes. Delhi has one of the best core, mid-group youngsters. For example, Prithvi Shaw, he's just 20 years old. Rishabh Pant, 23. Their captain, Shreyas Iyer, 25. The maturity shown by these youngsters is incredible. Shreyas Iyer being such a young player, captaining one of the current best IPL teams, has been pretty good. He has been taking the right decision, using his bowlers well. I agree that he's been, there are like amazing pace bowlers like Rabada, Nokia right now, but he still has been utilizing them very well. It's not that, like, how to put it in words. It's not that he's just like wholly dependent on them. He knows when to use them. He knows when he has to give the ball to another bowler who's maybe less consistent, but in that situation can pick you a wicket up for you. Any IPL franchise will want their youngsters to perform. That's the whole concept of IPL, to bring out young talent. So to answer your question, Anson, whether DC will be able to carry their momentum and win the finals, I won't really speak about which team will win the final, but I can definitely say yes. DC can carry momentum. The youngsters can show maturity, can are very talented, and yes, I feel DC will reach the final.
Next up, we have the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Raj, after sealing their spot in the last game of the season with a 10-wicket win over the Mumbai Indians, can Sunrisers Hyderabad prove their worth and make it to the final this year?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, the 10 wicket win doesn't mean much because it was a weakened Mumbai side. Having said that, they can very well make it to the finals and even win the title, though Mumbai are clearly the favorites in spite of their loss today. However, I would their first match eliminated is against RCB, which I think they should comfortably win. The only thing they might do is they can probably get in Abhishek Sharma like they did last time, so that they can choke RCB in the middle overs, because RCB plays quite conservatively against spinners in the middle overs, so they can do it again. So against RCB, it should not be a problem, considering even Saini and Morris are doubtful. Having said that, coming to DC and MI, one tactical move which they could do, but I don't think they will do it because they have a settled side now. I think they can include Mohammad Nabi instead of Jason Holder. I know Jason Holder has been doing very well, but I'm suggesting this simply because Mohammad Nabi is an off spinner plus provides firepower in the lower middle order, and since it's an off spinner, it will be very helpful against left-handed loaded batsmen. Delhi and Mumbai, they have many left-handed batsmen in their top order. So these are the two. This is the one tactical change I would suggest for them. But I know, of course, Holder has been doing great, so they would probably not want to change their winning combination. But sometimes I think these tactical things you have to take, considering the bigger picture in mind. Also, I would have suggested Bairstow coming in, but since Saha is doing very well now, so I don't think it would be a great idea to disturb that. So yeah, only one Nabi in for Holder. That is my major suggestion to them.
Okay, so Tresnor, Rahil, as you know, as you remember, said in our last episode that he thinks RCB may choke in the playoffs, where now RCB lost 4 in a row and now they're expected to win 3 in a row to win the title. So they have been struggling in accelerating their run rate and finishing as well, and they are leaking runs also. So Tresnor, do they have the factor? Do they have it that can help them lay their hands on the trophy for the very first time?
Yeah, it's not the best way to go into the playoffs, losing the last four matches. And now they are expected to win the next two games in order to make it to the finals. It's a huge ask and it's going to be really, really difficult because it just seems like they are not a settled side. They had a really great start to the season, but once the teams figured out that RCB's batting is slow and cautious against spin, every team used that against them. Now, when you look at the team, the only player who has played well and consistently throughout the tournament has been Devdut Padikkal. He is the highest run scorer for RCB and is currently the third highest run scorer this IPL, which is fantastic for his first IPL season. Now that RCB have made it to the playoffs, they need their senior players to perform. I would actually like to see Finch play, but I think RCB will stick to Josh Philippi. Josh has been great, but I don't see him, anchoring an innings or playing at a really high strike rate like Finch can do. I think RCB will need the experience of Finch. He can be that X factor that gets going, and I really want to see him play. Um, Morris needs to step up too. He hasn't been performing lately. RCB's bowling has been a hit or a miss. Siraj has been getting a few wickets. Saini needs to step up. Udana has been good, and so has Washington Sundar. Well, like I said earlier, they need their senior and established players to perform. They need Chahal to get wickets. They need Virat Kohli to come back into form and play his natural game, and AB de Villiers to come and get in and do his thing. So if these three players perform for RCB, then absolutely they can make it to the finals and even win their first ever IPL.
Yeah, you made a fair point there. It's all about the experience when it comes in the knockouts, and you need those senior players to step up instead of just putting the pressure on the young players. But Devdutt Padikkal has performed well, but I think the strike rate is a bit of an issue now. So yeah, next let's move on to the Kolkata Knight Riders now. I mean, after the last match between Mumbai and Hyderabad, it's been a very sad journey for the KKR fans. And so, Rahil, I mean, last match they played so well. Pat Cummins, he came out and took 4 wickets, and he showed why he deserved the big bucks. And Varun Chakravarti as well. What a spinner has been for the Kolkata Knight Riders, and now he's been selected in the Indian squad as well for the T20 series against Australia. Mystery spinner. So, do you think they should have, showed this kind of performance a bit early? Now it's too late, but do you think they must have done something less that they didn't qualify?
I think definitely, yeah. They they should have just won those 3 or 4 matches which they wanted. Especially the match between, I mean, with against CSK. They should have won that match, but that didn't happen. Pat Cummins with the other bowlers have been very economical. Well, they haven't been the best in terms of wicket taking, but the last game they have been good. But I think KKR's major drawback has been their batting, especially in their power play. It's been very disappointing. Someone like Dinesh Karthik has not been consistent, and even Andre Russell, he's been in and out. But even when he's in the squad, he's not been that consistent. KKR as a whole team, I feel, was very disappointing this year. And talking about Varun Chakravarti, he's I think this year he's been one of the best players of all time, for KKR. and one of the best players of this season. He's been carrying KKR on his shoulders. He's been doing the job like he's although he's an uncapped player, he's doing the job of an big experienced player would do. So I think he's been very good. But KKR, I feel as a whole team, they have been very disappointing. Their batting has been disappointing this year.
So Anson, talking about Mumbai, they've covered all the departments and they have shown why they deserve to be in the finals than any other team. So with Rohit back now, and you'll get Pandya, Bumrah, and Bolt playing together in the playoffs. So what do you have to say about their the way they have to carry the momentum of they played in the earlier stages before this match, of course. So what do they have to do in order to uh, reach the finals? They just need to win one match in the qualifier one.
Yes, Devang, Mumbai have had yet another good season this year. Right from their openers giving good starts in the power play to Surya Kumar Yadav enjoying his best form and the finishers doing their job well, they have managed to put up big scores as well as chase down totals set by other teams. In the bowling department, the pace duo of Bolt and Bumrah have been a joy to watch, along with Rahul Chahar, who has been their wicket taking spinner. Yes, with Rohit back, it will be a boost not only to the batting but to the whole team as they now have their leader back. So, hoping that they carry their good form into the playoffs, taking one game at a time and getting the basics right, I would say. And yes, I hope they'll lift another trophy this season as well. So, for me, Mumbai seem to be the favorites. So, talking about favorites, that brings me to my next question as to whom do you all feel are the favorites this year?
I think there's two ways to look at the situation. One is recent form and the best team on paper. Mumbai are clearly the best team on paper with their formidable squad that is performing well. And they also have the experience of playoffs to back them. And a lot of the players who are playing in the squad now have been playing for them in the playoffs in the previous seasons. So they look the most experienced in such a situation. And they also are the most prominently best performing squad on the trot right now. And having said that, I think there have been leaks that have been exposed in the last couple of games. Mumbai haven't looked that they are invincible as they looked on earlier in the tournament. So when you look at recent form, the other teams that have qualified are SRH, DC, and RCB. RCB and SRH have both lost a lot of games coming into the playoffs. So they actually got through based on their good start. But the good start is not going to help them right now because they have to clear up whatever has happened wrong in the last couple of games. So I think there are issues that RCB and DC have to address before they go into the into the playoffs. And whether they'll do that or not depends a lot on the management and a lot of important decisions taken whether to balance out experience and youth or whether to favor experience over youth, considering they're playing big matches now. But I don't think that should the experience should be favored because I think the youth should be given a chance and they can actually showcase their talent in the big stage because you never know if you don't give them a chance. And having said that, I think SRH also can be considered the next best favorites after Mumbai because they are coming after 3 wins on the trot and they can also actually win the tournament if they continue playing the way they are right now. So I'd say Mumbai is the best on paper, but I think SRH have an outside chance.
So yeah, even I feel that MI are the hot favorites. They have all bases covered, and I think it would require just a bad day for them to lose. Otherwise, it is very difficult to beat them. Now, having said that, I think even DC has a good amount of chance because as they started, even they looked as strong as MI. But as the tournament progressed, some of their weaknesses got exposed. Like they had one bad, I wouldn't say bad, but I would say a bowler who leaks a lot of runs, and they rectified that mistake by getting in an additional overseas seamer. So, having rectified that mistake, I think even they have a good chance of winning. Coming to SRH and RCB, I really am not sure if they can make it to the finals or if they can make it to the first title win because they have a lot of things to work on. And SRH also, Their middle order is quite weak. Their top order has been firing since for the last few matches. That's why it's been good for them. If the top order fails, which is quite likely against MI and DC, which have good power play bowlers like Bumrah, Bolt, Rabada, then in that case their top order might fail and it might come out to their middle order, and which will be difficult for them. So my top favorite is MI, and second I could say DC.
I would say SRH because if they repeat the way they've played this match and the one versus RCB, they've played dominating cricket. And suppose if they continue with this form where Saha and Warner, they've been a very lethal combo and they've won with 10 wickets against Mumbai this match, and then Jason Holder coming in and has provided a lot of balance for the SRH side. He takes wickets and also he can finish the matches. So I feel SRH will be playing the finals. Okay, so the first qualifier will be played on the 5th, where Mumbai Indians will be taking on Delhi Daredevils, and the winner marches directly into the finals, and the loser will play the winner of the eliminator between RCB and the Sunrisers Hyderabad. So the best teams of paper did qualify, and we will be expecting nothing less than a blockbuster. So this is it then. It's the end of episode 4, and stay tuned for our next episode. Stay safe and see you soon.